Sustainable Jersey Sustainability Summit. This is our second annual virtual summit, hopefully our last annual virtual summit, and next year we'll be back to in person. This is the kickoff event for the 2021 summit. We're very excited to have you all with us. We have a number of sessions throughout the course of this week covering hopefully all the topics that are on your mind that relate to sustainability in municipalities and schools. This has been, my name is Randall Solomon. I'm the Executive Director of Sustainable Jersey, and co-presenting with me today is Renee Haider, who is the Deputy Director. And we're going to talk in this session about the year that we just had, a year in review, and some of the major initiatives that are coming up for 2021 and what our priorities are and some of the things that you have to look forward to from us. As I'm sure everybody knows, the past year has been extremely challenging for everyone in New Jersey, everyone on planet Earth, and certainly everyone in the sustainability community in New Jersey. The COVID-19 pandemic has been a major, shakeup for our organization and for everyone that we work with. And we started off the year, as everyone else did, pivoting to address COVID. And so we spent a lot of time focusing on emerging issues that municipalities were dealing with. This included helping municipalities deal with communications and public engagement and remote work. We created a remote learning roadmap for schools that were dealing for the first time with the challenges of remote and digital learning. We did things like change our certification cycles. So we offered extensions, essentially a free year for everybody that needed it, who might be losing their certification. And despite offering a free year, we were absolutely surprised and flabbergasted that in the midst of COVID, we had an incredibly strong year in terms of participation numbers. We maintained really strong numbers in the municipal program, and we actually had a record year of certifications in the schools program. But now, after a very strange year, we're pivoting back to our key priorities. We're focusing on sustainability, and we're focusing on supporting municipalities and schools to do the hard work of ensuring that we have a sustainable future. As we pivot back and as we reflect on COVID, there are some lessons to learn. I think the biggest one for me is that things don't stay the same. We're all here because we believe we need to take action today because we care about the future. But even here amongst us, we know that human nature is to assume that tomorrow is going to be fundamentally similar to today. COVID reminds us that the world's always changing. History tells us that it changes in big earth-shaking ways. And sustainability gives us a framework, an intellectual framework to think about the future and try to shape those changes instead of letting them happen to us and just being passive participants. COVID reminds us that these changes aren't often the distant, obscure future. These changes, they happen fast, and they don't happen when it's convenient to us. So as we pivot back to a more normal post-COVID reality, I hope we come away reinvigorated and motivated to not wait, not be patient as we think about what next Sustainable Jersey actions to pursue, not be patient as we think about when the ideal time is to try to implement something important. Maybe we have another year to work on it. Maybe we don't. So we hope, and we hope that you think as well, that it's time to get busy, or if we've all been busy, get busier than ever. I'd like to thank everyone who participates on a green team or supports their Sustainable Jersey efforts and sustainability efforts in their schools and communities. I would like to thank all the partner organizations, the nonprofits, the state agencies for your ongoing work and support. And I'd like to thank our sponsors in particular who make Sustainable Jersey possible. And certainly last but not least, I'd like to thank the Sustainable Jersey board and the staff who work tirelessly to keep the organization going and give us the resources to offer this wonderful program and all the supports that we offer to all of you. And so without further ado, I am going to turn it over to Renee Haider, my co-presenter, who's going to talk about the year in review. Oh, actually a couple other things before I do that. And let me share my screen real quick. A couple of announcements. So for today's session and throughout the course of the summit, we're going to be utilizing Zoom. Most people are fairly familiar with the basics, but a couple things I want to point out. During the course of the presentation, we encourage people to use the chat feature. You can comment on what we're saying. You can make comments or announcements or anything you want to the other participants in the session. And you just click that little chat button. Not in today's session, but throughout the course of the summit, there will be instances where people are going to invite you to raise your hand. Maybe they'll do a quick informal poll of the participants or invite people to ask questions. So there's a raise your hand feature. And then if you have specific questions based on what we are saying, you can use the question and answer feature. And we are going to reserve at least 10 minutes at the end of this session for Q&A. You can put your questions into the Q&A feature at any time, and we will either answer them when you ask it, if it seems appropriate to do it right at that moment, or more likely we will address that question at the end, and we'll take them in a kind of first come, first served basis. A couple of announcements. June 6th is the municipal certification deadline. June 21 is the final round of schools, and is the certification deadline for that final round. We have, we're going to talk more about this later, but we have a free technical assistance program to help municipalities develop a water story. And I'll talk more about what that is. And we'll really go into depth on it on Tuesday, the 18th at 1 o'clock when we have a session on enhanced community water resources through the Water Gold, the new Sustainable Jersey Gold Star Standard in Water, which we are announcing at the summit. Very proud to be doing that. And then finally, we have a resiliency and environmental stewardship grant opportunity for municipalities that is sponsored by Atlantic City Electric and for people that are in those territories, in their territory. And I'll talk more about that in a minute or a few minutes. And so with that, I'd like to turn it over to Renee to cover the year in review.
Great, thanks, Randy. So as Randy had said, I'm going to kind of just give you a quick update on the certification cycles from 2020 and 2021, and then we'll highlight some of our accomplishments in the last year. Randy, you want to go to the next slide? So as Randy mentioned, we were really surprised and kind of inspired by all the green teams in the municipalities and schools that worked through the pandemic on their sustainability initiatives. In 2020, we certified 55 municipalities, and our champions were Island Heights, Madison, and Woodbridge Township. And that was a little bit lower than normally. It varies by year, but usually we're somewhere between like 75 and 100 or a little over 100. But we thought it was amazing that we had that many municipalities that moved forward in 2020. And for the schools program, as Randy mentioned, we had a record year of new certifications with over 60 schools from the Newark School District coming in to be certified for the first time. And the champions were Ramtown Elementary from Howell Township, Winslow Township Middle School, and Raritan High School in Hazlet, New Jersey. Overall, the collective group of our sustainability participants completed over 1,900 actions, which is about 26% less than what we would really get our average over the last couple of years. But again, we were really amazed at those results. And I have to say that we really missed having the live awards events and also having a live summit. Part of what really fuels our staff is our live interactions with all of you and just knowing how committed you all are to advancing sustainability in the state. Next slide. For the 2021 certification cycle, As Randy said, the deadline is June 6th for the first initial submission. In 2020, we automatically extended the certifications for municipalities that were expiring in 2020. This year, we're not doing it automatically, but if your town is expiring in 2021 and you need an extension because you're still absorbed in kind of the aftermath and ongoing activities related to the pandemic, you can email school info@sustainablejersey.com and request an extension. For the schools program, we're actually approaching the final submission deadline in June 21st. And for schools that were slated to expire in 2021, we automatically extended their certifications. And that's because, municipalities were hard hit, but the schools have been really amazingly juggling lots of things regarding remote instruction and all the other logistics that have to do with running a school. So those were automatically extended for 2021. If a school was automatically extended in 2020 to 2021, we will give them another extension, but we ask them to request that extension so that we know that they're still actively pursuing certification in 2021. And they can email schools@sustainablejersey.com to request that. And just as in 2021, we extended the look back periods for annual actions. Usually for our annual actions, they would have to be completed in the year prior to the certification deadline or up until the certification deadline. This year, we're going back to 2019. So for annual actions, you could have completed the activities associated with the action requirements in 2019, 2020, or up to the final deadline in 2021. Next slide. So now, instead of kind of having a bunch of slides of all the activities we accomplished in the past year, we thought we would show the video that we had put together on our 2020 accomplishments for our annual awards luncheon in March for the municipal program. I think there's a few things that are a little outdated based on deadlines, but everything that's highlighted here continues to be moving forward in 2021. For example, when we show the video, you'll see that we talk about the upcoming deadlines for the EDF Fellows Program. But in actuality, we're moving forward with placing EDF Fellows in 18 municipalities and 4 school districts to work on energy initiatives for 10 weeks over the summer. So everything in here is moving forward. And after the video, we'll be talking more about new initiatives on top of what is covered in this video. So Sam, can you show the video now, please? Samantha McGraw is our behind the scenes person today. So please, if you have any questions specifically for her too, you can put that in the questions and answers box.
Greetings, I'm Renee Haider, Deputy Director.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Somtube. I'm the Business Manager.
Hi, this is Joe Grillo, Development Director.
I'm Heather McCall, Schools Program Director.
Hi, I'm Larry Coco, Senior Program Consultant for the Digital Schools Program.
Hi, Veronique Lambert, Coordinator of the Schools Program.
Hi everyone, I'm Lauren Skronsky, Program Director for Community Engagement.
Hey there, Ann Heasley, Program Manager for Policy and Planning.
Hi, I'm Samantha McGraw, Program Manager.
Hi, my name is Caitlin Bulmer, Grants Program Coordinator.
Hello, I'm Maureen Jones, Program Assistant.
Hi everyone, I'm Megan McParland and I'm the Program Coordinator.
Hi, I'm Nancy Corr, Energy Program Manager.
My name is Tracy Woods and I'm a Research and Project Specialist for the Energy Team.
Hi, I'm Zonatech Charney. I'm a Research Project Specialist.
Hi, I'm Hogan Dwyer, Energy and Research Project Specialist.
Hi, my name is Christy Ranieri. I do communications.
Hi, I'm Melanie McDermott. I'm a Senior Researcher. Congratulations, everyone.
Hi, good morning, everybody, and welcome to our ultimate webinar for the Digital Schools Star Recognition Program.
Great. Thank you so much. And again, we apologize for the quality of the video. One of my favorite, we actually did rehearse this. One of my favorite haikus is, yesterday it worked, today it doesn't work. Windows is like that. So anyway, moving on, the road ahead, we have a really exciting year planned for 2021. As people may remember, in 2019, we had our 10-year anniversary of the launch of Sustainable Jersey, and we engaged many of you in a broad discussion that we called Sustainable Jersey 2.0 to think about the future of Sustainable Jersey and what our mission, what our vision would be, and what specific activities we should be pursuing as we think about the next 10 years. COVID hit before we had a chance to really wrap that process up, but we did identify a number of strategic priorities that now we want to get back to. So I'm going to review a few of those and then go into some detail. So first is reducing the documentation burden while maintaining the program integrity. We want you to be spending more of your time implementing all of the good work that needs to be implemented and less of your time documenting to us that you did what you did. Obviously, there's a balance there because we still need to maintain the program integrity and it's a rigorous certification, but that's our intent, is to continue to shift that balance. We need to maintain the quality of the program actions, and we spend a lot of money, a lot of resources updating many of the actions every year. Some of them have not been actually updated in 10 years though. So it will be, as the program gets older, we need to continue to reinvest to make sure those actions are bringing you the best information and the latest and greatest in terms of guidance and access to resources. We want to increase opportunities for grants and direct technical assistance to program participants. And so that means shifting our focus from developing new best practices, thinking of more things that you can do, to recognizing that you need help and that we have sucked up all of your available bandwidth already to help you implement some of the good things that are already in the program. We want Sustainable Jersey to become more equitable, and we want the state to become more equitable, inclusive, and better prepared to do the work of advancing social justice. And we want to play a role in helping all municipalities, all schools do that work. Sustainability has always been a broad vision of the future that recognizes the environment, the economy, and social equities as kind of being the 3 E's, the 3 pillars of sustainability. And we are going to, in an ongoing way, be focused more and more on that 3rd E, which has not gotten, it's always been a part of the program, but it's not gotten as much attention as the other 2. We are going to create, and it might not be ready this year, but we are going to create a new gold level of certification. And that is something that was specifically talked about in the Sustainable Jersey 2.0 visioning sessions. So there's a lot of communities that are at the bronze and silver level of certification. We don't offer a gold level of certification. Currently, we only offer gold stars in specific areas. So if you, for example, energy is the biggest one right now. If you achieve kind of a very high level of performance in energy, you can get the gold star in energy. But we don't have an overall gold tier. We're going to create that gold tier, and it's going to be points-based. It's going to be a continuation of the number, the way that bronze and silver are, focused on the number of points, how many categories you hit, and the number of priority actions that you implement. And then, in addition, as a companion to that, we're going to allow all certified municipalities, bronze, silver, and gold, to try to earn stars, the energy gold star, the waste gold star, and then new this year, we're all going to be offering gold stars in water, which is going to be announced at another session at the summit, and also in health, which we'll talk about more and unveil probably in July. And then another priority, which might be the most boring to all of you, but is critical to us, is to increase funding to support our core operations. Sustainable Jersey receives grant funding from foundations and from the state. Often that money is to pursue specific initiatives that are interesting to the funder, but to run the core business of Sustainable Jersey, to do the certification cycles, to be there for you when you have all your different questions, to run the summit, that requires kind of core operational support. And we are extremely grateful to all of the funders, the corporate sponsors, and also some grants do provide operational support that enable us to do those core operations. So this year we have annual grant cycles again. There's a lot to look forward to. We have 3 municipal eligible and 3 schools eligible grants. We have an Atlantic City Electric grant cycle that's currently open. The applications are due June 30th, and that's focused on resiliency and environmental stewardship. Be sure to sign up for and read our bi-weekly e-blasts for information on current opportunities. There's stuff that comes up throughout the year, every year, without fail, and that we announced. Some of it is on fairly short notice. We also have a very exciting technical assistance lineup for this year, starting with New Jersey American Water sponsoring a pilot project where we're going to be piloting our new water story action, which is also the seminal action you need to implement to get the gold star standard in water. And I'll talk more about that in a minute. We have energy technical assistance for municipalities and schools, sponsored by the Gardner Environmental Trust and the Taub Foundation. As Renee mentioned earlier, we've got a full slate of Environmental Defense Fund fellows that are sponsored by New Jersey Natural Gas, South Jersey Gas, and JCP&L. And also we've got some equity-focused EDF fellows that are just going to be in overburdened communities that are statewide. The Department of Environmental Protection has funded us to do pilots and give out grants in 3 New Jersey schools to focus on food waste recovery and management. And that will be announced soon in June, so keep your eyes peeled for that. And we will be doing another cycle of the North Jersey Transportation Planning Authority funded Complete Streets Initiative, where we work hands-on in partnership with Rutgers Voorhees Transportation Center in about 10 municipalities throughout the state. So again, make sure you're on the e-blast and stay tuned because there's always more that pops up. And I'd also like to note that this is the biggest lineup we've had of technical assistance and grants ever. And we hope to continue to expand it in line with our strategic vision. I mentioned the New Jersey American Water sponsored Municipal Water Story Action. The water story helps municipalities understand all of their local issues, where their water comes from, where it goes, issues like do they have localized flooding? Do they have degraded and polluted water bodies, rivers and streams? Do they have concerns about drinking water, well testing, things like that? And really separate fact from fiction. So what are the concerns? What are the real threats now and in the future that we need to manage? And that is done through an extended public engagement process to really educate the entire community about what your issues are, what your concerns are and should be. And that is a predicate to doing kind of a broad-based water plan and strategic action plan, which if you do it, gets you kind of where you need to be to get the Sustainable Jersey Gold Star standard in water. And again, the deadline for that is June 24th. Equity, as I mentioned, another of our key initiatives. This past year, we completed a program-wide self-assessment for the municipal certification program, and it is complete and published on our website. We had a number of interesting findings. Just to highlight one of them, we looked at who was participating in Sustainable Jersey by race and who was getting certified. And what we found out was that of the white population in New Jersey, 50% of them lived in a Sustainable Jersey certified town, and 50% of them lived in a town or a municipality that was not certified. When we looked at the African American or Black population, 51% of them live in Sustainable Jersey certified municipalities versus 49% not certified. The population of Asian descent, 60% of them live in certified municipalities versus 40 that don't. And when we look at the Latinx population, 43% of them live in Sustainable Jersey certified communities. So this is not a bad start, but we're going to continue to monitor our performance and make sure that participation and the benefits of Sustainable Jersey continue to be distributed equally throughout the state. We will continue to look at what we did. We implemented internal procedures for assessing the equity impact of each one of our actions. And we will continue to make sure that new actions that come online don't have a disproportionate negative impact on overburdened communities, or if there's benefits that they're shared widely. And we want to extend this effort to schools. In ensuring everyone's got equal access to the benefits of Sustainable Jersey and of sustainability, we will we're going to continue to make a lot of our resources not just equitably distributed, but we're going to help low capacity and overburdened communities in particular receive proactive help. In many cases, they're they miss out on grant opportunities because they're focused on other things, or they don't have the internal capacity to get on top of some of these opportunities. And so we're going to be doing proactive outreach to help them. And we think Sustainable Jersey's got an obligation, and we're in a very special place to help municipalities and schools engage in some difficult conversations. Sustainable Jersey represents a broad swath of New Jersey, municipalities that are rich and poor, and every racial and demographic makeup, Republican and Democratic led, and everything in between. And the conversations that need to happen, the specific initiatives and strategies, and what it means to think about equity and fairness are going to vary from community to community, and how you talk about these issues are going to vary. And so we're going to be thinking about helping municipalities and schools start on this journey and really start to engage in what can be very awkward conversations, but very important conversations to have. On the energy front, as always, energy is one of our biggest areas. Funded by the Board of Public Utilities, Taub and Gardner. We're going to be expanding our technical assistance programs again. We're offering hands-on, before COVID, what we might have called on-site, but a lot of it is happening virtually, but hands-on assistance to help municipalities and schools deal with their buildings and their operations, including fleets, and starting to offer strategic assistance for broad energy planning. And we're going to be providing support for all Sustainable Jersey participants, but again, enhanced support for low capacity and overburdened communities. Some focus areas include, but are not limited to, electric vehicles and with the municipal role in supporting them, the rollout throughout the state, community energy planning, community solar, transition of building efficiency programs in schools and municipalities, from the state's clean energy program to the utilities, which is a major shift in statewide kind of energy programs. And so we're going to make sure that municipalities and schools are in a place to take advantage of that shift. And we're going to be updating, we started to think about updating the Gold Star standard in energy, making it simpler, focusing it on the highest impact actions, and aligning it more than it already is with the New Jersey Energy Master Plan. We're very excited that in this past year, but not fairly recently, and many people don't know about it, a Sustainable Jersey data center. There's two types of data. One is data that we ourselves generate, and we're really the only source of it. A lot of that is in the energy sector. So for example, we've got municipal energy data from all of the utilities in one place that's updated annually. And we've got a curated list of what we think are important state data resources. And when I say curated, it's not everything under the sun. It's the things that we think are most important, and in most cases, provide data that links directly to the implementation of one or more of our actions. And you can learn more about all the data that's available in the Show Me the Data session, which will happen on May 20th at 1 o'clock. The summit is, and I suppose this is right now, the unveiling of our new Gold Star standard in water. And again, this is I think I mentioned it before, this is the culmination of a lot of work. I want to thank the Water Gold Task Force, which these are people in academia and the nonprofit sector and state agencies that donated over the course of 2.5 years a tremendous amount of time to work out all the details of the Gold Star standard in water, thinking about what a sustainable community would look like, what things it would implement in the area of water. There's a large swath of new water actions as well as existing actions that you can implement to get the Gold Star standard. I'm not going to cover each one of these, but just suffice it to say it covers drinking water, surface water, storm water and runoff, sewers and septic, recreation, everything that you can think of, flooding, and as a comprehensive look at water. And again, we've got a pilot where we're going to be implementing the seminal first step in achieving the Gold Star standard in water, the municipal water story. We've got an announcement to do a pilot in partnership with the municipality on that. Coming in July is our new Gold Star standard in health. Here we want to help municipalities understand their role in impacting the determinants of health. And so this is not, when we talk about health, we're not just talking about the provision of healthcare. And in fact, we're talking about the thing that is most important to municipalities, which is the impact that they can have on the determinants of health. So things like, do you have a walkable community? Do you have recreational programs? Is the air clean? Is the water safe to drink? Is there access to healthy food? Are there access to a strong economy and to jobs? These are the things that actually determine the health outcomes of people. And so municipalities have key authority over the determinants of health. And in fact, they are the entities that are most strategically placed to impact those determinants of health. So we've identified a broad slate of actions, looking at the high impact strategies. And it is no surprise that these are often overlapping with sustainability issues. So for example, implementing electric vehicles or buying electric vehicles or making them more accessible through charging stations in your community has an impact on climate change and global warming. So it's a sustainability issue, but it removes tailpipes and so sources of air pollution from your community and has a direct impact on air quality and health in your community. So it's also a primary determinant of health. Like many of like the Gold Star in water, the Gold Star in health starts with an assessment of local issues, and we've got a new action that will walk you through that process. And we hope to be doing pilots with partner municipalities on the Gold Star standard in health in the future as well, although nothing to announce at this moment. The Digital Schools program was launched last year, and this year we're looking forward to a major expansion. It was launched in partnership with New Jersey School Boards Association, NJDOE, which is the State Department of Environmental Protection, backed by all of the major education organizations, including NJEA, one of our major partners in all things Sustainable Jersey for Schools. It offers a new tier of recognition, the Digital Schools Star. There are 12 brand new Digital Schools actions, and they are partnered with a number of existing actions which you can bring together to try to get the Digital Schools Star recognition. New for this year, not just for Sustainable Jersey, but for the state, is climate education in schools. The state of New Jersey became the first state, and is still the only state in the country, to mandate climate change be taught in K through 12 education at all levels. It's part of the new student learning requirements for New Jersey. Prior to that, even Sustainable Jersey was on the topic. This year, we implemented and are in the middle of doing a statewide student climate challenge, which had a student climate summit, and we're in the midst of a climate challenge, but it's only in South Jersey as a pilot. It was funded by Atlantic City Electric and the Drumthwacket Foundation, which is kind of the foundation that runs the governor's mansion and very aligned with the First Lady. And this was very much the result of her initiative, the new climate education standards for New Jersey. So that climate contest and the summit are going to be rolled out statewide this year. The New Jersey School Boards Association and Sustainable Jersey together have launched a thought leader committee on climate change education. And the main activity of that committee is to develop a statewide agenda, which will be a report to identify the needs and opportunities in New Jersey for climate change education. And our ongoing work is going to be to identify best practices and next steps that are based on kind of the needs assessment report. And also think about how we can support professional development among teachers in particular, but of course, school board members and administrators on the topic of climate change education. So it's a very exciting development. It's a very exciting year coming up. I didn't cover everything, actually. So you do have to sign up for our, our newsletter and our e-blast and check our social media to find out about all of the activities. I want to again thank our sponsors. Our three big program underwriters are the state of New Jersey and the Board of Public Utilities, and specifically its Clean Energy Program. The Geraldine R. Dodge Foundation, which has been there since the beginning with us, along with the state of New Jersey, and New Jersey School Boards Association, which is our big partner in helping to launch the schools program and was there with us since the beginning. I'd like to thank our summit sponsors, which include New Jersey Natural Gas, the New Jersey Education Association, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield, Ocean Wind, South Jersey Gas, Link, PSEG, Investors Bank, Bayshore Recycling, New Jersey American Water, New Jersey Aggregators, or New Jersey AGG, Solar Landscape, Atlantic Health System, New Jersey Manufacturers Insurance Group, Elizabethtown Gas, and the First Energy Foundation. This would not be possible without all of their support. And many more Sustainability Summit events to come. You can see a list of all the summit events and opportunity to register through this bit.ly link that I've just posted. And a recording of all the summit events will be posted by May 28th. And that will be on our website under the resources section. And under the resources section, you'll see presentations. And under that, Sustainability Summit. And you'll see a list of all the presentations. And many of the things that I talked about today in brief, we'll be going through all of the details in the summit sessions to come. And so with that, I would like to open it up to questions on anything that we just presented or anything that might be on your mind regarding Sustainable Jersey or sustainability on the whole. And Renee, have you been monitoring the chat and the Q&A?
Yes. So there is one question in the Q&A box, but we'd love to have more. Any large or small question about Sustainable Jersey, we have about 10 minutes. So please take advantage of this opportunity. So there is one question from Bob Upton, and he says, increasingly, I feel big steps will need legislative support. Does SJ get involved in that area or leave it more to ANJAC, et cetera?
Well, we leave it more to, a lot of the environmental groups that lobby. So, and we coordinate with a lot of them. So it includes the Sierra Club and New Jersey Environmental Lobby and Environment New Jersey and ANJAC and Clean Water Action and a number of others. We often feed information to them where we feel that there's something that municipalities could be doing or should be doing and can't because the legislation doesn't authorize it or the legislation precludes it. And we often work with the League of Municipalities and School Boards Association, who are our big partners, but obviously do a tremendous amount of work, and lobbying the legislature is a big part of what they do. But we do actually work directly with the state agencies and the governor's office. And so although we're not going to be writing op-eds or lobbying them, sort of doing pressure tactics, we are often feeding them information about, again, what we think needs to happen that requires legislative or executive action to, again, expand the box and the authority of local government to implement on sustainability.
Thanks, Randy. There's another question. Will more utilities support EDF fellows?
We hope so. So this year is a significant expansion of the number of EDF fellows, and the majority of people in the state of New Jersey will have access to EDF fellows this year. I can't speak for what will happen next year, but the trajectory is looking good. But for this coming year, it's just JCP&L, South Jersey Gas, New Jersey Natural Gas, in particular. But then for sort of overburdened, low income, low capacity communities, we have 2 fellows that will be available statewide, anywhere in the state.
Great, thanks.
But in addition to EDF fellows, Sustainable Jersey staff are providing hands-on technical assistance that does a lot of what the EDF fellows would do and more. And all municipalities throughout the state are eligible for that. We have been advertising that for several months, and our dance card for this year is probably full, although it never hurts to reach out. But we'll be cycling municipalities and schools on and off that list, in perpetuity. So definitely reach out to the energy program and kind of start that conversation with them.
Great, thanks. We have another question from Lois Kraus. Towns are really stepping up their efforts to promote sustainable landscaping practices, banning 2-stroke long equipment. Do you foresee new actions in this area soon?
I would say I foresee new actions, but I don't know about soon. We think it's an important issue, and not just sort of 2-stroke engines and the noise issue, but also how people landscape, use of water, use of pesticides, use of non-native species, the runoff that creates. Those are all really important issues that municipalities can play an important role in. We would need essentially additional funding to be able to work on that. We have a number of big priorities that we're working on that are funded and sort of are taking precedence. And so we're not sure exactly when we'll be able to really turn our attention to that in earnest and dig into it deeply.
Okay, any more questions? We have a few minutes left. Oh, here's another one that came in. Great. From Sharon Garrison. Do you foresee a time when your organization would provide help from actual grant winners to apply for available grants? It would be great to have someone to work with us to gather the necessary information and then do the actual grant application writing for us. I'm sure my borough could be applying for grants, but we don't have anyone with the skill set to help us apply.
Well, the way the question was worded is, would other grant winners help you? I can't speak for them, but we will absolutely help you. So we've got a great staff and a great grants program staff who are willing to give you advice, willing to talk to you. You can see, what some of the, all the winning projects are online, so you can see what those are. So we'll give you a lot of hand-holding to help you get that over the line. We've tried to structure it and make the application process really, really simple. Just tell us in, very plain language what it is you plan to do and how you plan to spend the money. And you'll be, if you've got a cool project, you will be competitive. So you don't need any specialized skills to apply for those grants.
Right. I think Sherry was talking about getting help actually writing the grant, which we can't help you, but we can definitely give tips. And usually at the League of Municipalities, we run a session on that. And for each grant cycle, there's a special webinar that we do that includes tips on how to write it. But it's really not how well written it is. It's really identifying what the project is and how it meets a need in the community and showing that there's community support for it. So it doesn't necessarily have to be the best well-written grant application. It just has to be sincere in trying to meet a need in the community.
Yep. And that's by design. We specifically designed that application process to so that your average, assistant administrator or even a clerk or a green team volunteer or someone in a public works department, whomever, or a teacher could write those grants themselves and don't need any really specialized knowledge or grant writing ability.
Sam, did you want to add something to this?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that on the grants page, we do have a thinking about applying for grants subpage of the grants page, and there's a specific page dedicated to application tips. So I would definitely recommend starting there, at least in terms of applying for our grants, because we basically highlight, the typical sections that you'll see in our grant proposals and what you should be thinking about. So even if we don't have a grant cycle currently available, you could still think about a project that you might like to get funded and start building out that proposal ahead of time.
Right. And as Randy said, you could always reach out to Caitlin if you're not sure, you have an idea in your mind, but you're not sure that it would be a good fit. Caitlin can kind of give you some feedback on that and kind of give you some feedback on, what would be important in including in your application for that particular project.
Yeah, and Caitlin just posted her email in the chat channel, so you can get
Great, thanks. Any other questions? We still have a few minutes left.
So one question came in the chat. Do we have any recommendations for very small towns where 600 residents and how they can be involved in Sustainable Jersey? That's a great question. And I think the towns that struggle the most in the Sustainable Jersey program are the really small towns that have got very low capacity in terms of the number of staff, professional staff, and the number of volunteers, because there's only so many people that you can draw from. I don't have any, silver bullet. I can say, you are going to need some, small towns can do it. I mean, very small towns in the same population range have done it. You do need someone on your township committee or council that, is going to get behind it. You're going to need somebody, in the business administrator's office that's going to be behind it, and you need some volunteers. But the bronze level of certification in particular it's achievable. It requires some work, but it's designed to be achievable. And so I think you can do it. And thanks, Barbara Benz, for chiming in, who noted that Manilow did it. Very small town. There's a number of other small towns that have done it. If you're lucky enough to be in a region that has got a Sustainable Jersey regional hub, that is a great source of support. Although Sustainable Jersey does not have a formal program of mentoring with towns or where they'll help you, a lot of those hubs do. And so those regional hubs are where the leadership from all the different green teams come together on often, monthly or quarterly basis, and they talk shop and compare notes, and they do joint projects together. And it's a great source of advice and support and help. Sometimes they will actually mentor you.
It's also a good idea to connect with towns in your area, so that you may not want to do a green fair for your town because there's only 600 people, but if you participate with other towns in your area, you both can get credit for it. And also look to schools in your area, especially high schools that may have students that are interested in working with you. And there's also internships available. If you're in South Jersey through Stockton, they're always looking for intern opportunities for their students. So kind of thinking outside the box, and not just in your community, but what kind of outside resources you can plug into.
All right. Oh, we also have a question from Jen Walsh. What about flexibility for some prerequisites, such as for the forestry actions? So we are always open to suggestions on those. A lot of those actions, we have generally we've got a task force that is responsible for overseeing each one of those actions. And we've got a certification standards committee, which has got representatives from state agencies, nonprofits, as well as the communities, that determines is the final say, the final arbiter of what gets in the program and what the rules are. But we are constantly tweaking, and we do know that sometimes those prereqs can be a stumbling block to getting credit for things that you actually did. So, that's something that we can always look at. Feel free to email us at info@sustainablejersey with your suggestions, and we make sure they get to the right places. So thank you all so much for for participating in this session, and we hope you have a great summit, and we hope that you have a great year. Look forward to working with all of you as we pursue a more sustainable future for New Jersey and for the world. Thank you all so much.
Great. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.